Hey, have you ever been working on a Coleman lantern trying to get one going and you run into an old pump leather like this? It's not really leather, it's one of the newer plastic ones that's not worth a plug nickel. They won't pressurize for nothing. They're junk. How about one like this? One that's just wore completely out, not much life left in it. But today I'm going to show you a do-it-yourself way, quick and easy way to make a new pump leather. Alright, I'm going to show you a simple little jig that I've made for molding pump leather. Really easy to make. You can make it out of junk. Okay, it's a very simple design. You can make this out of scrap. This is just a piece of scrap 3/4 inch copper tubing. You can go to the hardware store and buy this by about 2-foot section, but it is kind of expensive, so if you know a plumber or find a plumber, they probably got scrap like it's laying all over the place. So this is just cut roughly to 1 inch long. I didn't measure, I just cut it to length, deburred it, put a dowel rod in to about 1/4 inch, and I just shot a rivet on each side. One rivet would probably hold, but I kind of go overkill. So it's really simple design. This is just actually a piece of an old scrap wooden curtain rod Melissa was going to throw out. I said, hey, that'll make a good dowel rod for something, and it was a perfect size to fit inside here. But once again, you can go to the hardware store and you can get dowel rod any size you want. This is another piece of it. I just shot a screw in it, put it in my drill, and put it on my sander and just sanded it down to make it a little smaller to go inside there and leave room for the leather. So all do it yourself. I already know what some of you all are thinking. Rob, why don't you just go down and buy a cap for one of these? They're a whole lot cheaper than buying the actual pipe. Well, the cap is actually designed to go around this, and it's a little too big. I have tried that, and it makes the leather a little too big around. You don't want that. Inside of the actual copper tubing is really close to the size of the pump shaft in a Coleman lantern. First of all, you just need a piece of scrap leather. I originally started making these. I had a punch, and I punched a round circle the size of what I need to try to save on leather, and done it. But that wouldn't work because the leather, when you get this wet and you mold it, it will stretch with the grain, and your round will turn oval. So I learned to just cut it a little oversized than what I need just from a piece of scrap, and then trim off the excess while it's wet, and it works really well. Okay, first thing we're going to do, I'm just going to drop this piece of scrap leather in some water. I've just got some water here in an old coffee cup, so we'll just let that soak for a minute. And let me take this lantern vise off of my bench vise, and we'll get started. That doesn't have to soak in the leather very long. I'm not sure the exact weight on this leather, but it's kind of thin. And you can pretty much just dip this stuff in the water and just kind of crumble it up in your hands, and it will soak the water all up in it, but you just want it flexible like this. But I will start by putting the smooth side against the tubing, and I will just center my dowel right over top of it. Now we would just put it in the vise. You just turn the vise until it all meshes up inside that tubing. Okay, it's a lot easier to do this part while the leather is really wet, so let's get started on it. Taking my knife blade, I'm shooting that up really close to that brass tubing. This works a lot better if you got a sharp knife. I really build this one. It's an old sharp knife. I'll sharpen it back. I'll cut a section. I don't open that vise all the way, just enough where I can spin it. Make another cut. I'll keep working my way around. Okay, at this point, you can clean up that cut a little bit if you want to. It don't have to be perfect, because I can show you a quick and easy way to clean it up when we get done here. Go ahead and get some of the excess. It don't have to be perfect. We're going to put that back in the vise and let it dry. Actually, I got a vise on the other side of the room. I'm going to put this one in for now, and I've got one already dried that we can start with. Okay, after this thing dries overnight, here's what it's going to look like. A little rough around the edges, but I'm going to show you a quick way to clean that up. Just take your belt sander. Now it looks a little more presentable. Okay, there's a couple different ways that I can mark center on this to punch my hole. I've got a very small washer. It's just about perfect in there. I can mark my center hole from the inside. But on this particular day, I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to mark it on the outside. So I've got a little bigger washer. And there you've got center. Now if I had a smaller set of punches, I would punch it from the inside so I could just lay it on a flat surface and it'd be so much easier. But with the punch that I'm using today, punch is so big around I can't hardly see my center mark. But if it's one of the hand punches with the little dial with the different sizes, that would work perfect to do it on the inside. But this is just punch I've got handy right now, so I'm going to punch it from the outside so I can see what I'm doing. It's got a little piece of a dowel rod. Set it on the dowel rod like that. That way I don't crush my pump leather. And I will punch it from the outside. Okay, there you have it. A little oil, soften it up, it should be good as new. Okay, now we'll just apply some neat's foot oil. Work that in, stretch that leather. Probably wouldn't hurt to put that in a little cup and let that soak in oil overnight and soften it up quite a bit. But there you go. See a new pump leather for Coleman lantern. Okay, y'all know the routine. Like, share, subscribe. God bless.